Adoption of previous meeting, none. Delegation, none. Business arising from minutes of previous meeting. Letters and communication for action, we have none. Letters and communication for information, we have none. Committee and staff reports. One Tracy.
No. You better do the chief assassin.
Okay. So. All right, so this evening we have our applicants for council. We're going to go in alphabetical order. So we'll be starting with Alan Goodfellow.
Well, good evening, and thank you for letting me talk to you this evening. The last couple of days, I've racked my brain trying to figure out what I'm going to come up here and talk about. But I think, most of you I know, most of at least fairly well. We went to school together, and of course we're on the committee together. And I've talked to pretty much every one of you over the last couple of years we've been back up here. But I want to go back and talk about my beginnings. And with that in mind, it's going to give you an idea of what I can bring to the table. I grew up here. I grew up in Bruce Mines, went to Cass, married Deborah girl, and moved to Southern Ontario, where I worked for a General Motors dealership for the last 30 some odd years. However, in doing so, I also worked along with many committees, like for instance, Jarvis Corn Fest. I was involved in numerous committees on that. I belonged to different board of directors for clubs and associations, as well as I became vice president and president of the largest beekeeping association in Ontario. Of course, I became a widower about 8 years ago, and that changed a lot of my plans, and I got remarried, and lo and behold, my wife decided that she loved it up here in Northern Ontario again. So we started the plan of moving back home, and I have my entire life I've considered this home. People ask me, where am I from? I said, well, I'm from Northern Ontario. And I realized that if we're talking to somebody in Thunder Bay, this is not Northern Ontario. But when you're talking to someone in Hamilton, this is Northern Ontario. And I love it up here. I really do. Anyways, with the different things that I've been involved in, specifically when I was president of the Beekeeping Association, I learned that when I ask 20 people the same question, I get 40 answers. And what does that allow me to be able to do? I actually was able to sit down with a group of people with different ideas and different opinions and sort through to get a resolution that worked for everyone. And this happened numerous times over the years. So again, the idea that working with a group as a team and resolving situations is kind of really one of my goals. And that's going to move me into what I would like to accomplish as a council member if I'm allowed that opportunity. And I already belong to the Committee for Economic Development and Tourism, and I actually really love the way that we're going with that. The direction we're moving in, I'm seeing little improvements here and there, and it's actually quite a bit of fun. I'm really enjoying that. And all I really would like to do is, in the grand scheme of the entire town, but to move forward with the direction we're already going. Just be another positive voice and a helping hand. And that's really all I want to accomplish out of this. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Shane LaFrance.
Apologize, I'm slow. I broke my leg 3 weeks ago, so still healing. Oh, well, council members, the reason I'm here today is because I grew up in this town. I'm a fourth generation Good Murphy LaFrance, and when the position came open, I figured that, it was my time to give back to the community. Same as my colleague here said, I went away for a while. I'm recently back. And when I got back, I started to notice, things that have changed. And things that have changed are tourism. It's down, right? That's something we need to work on. Crime, specifically drugs, is up. That's something that needs to be worked on. I am not a politician. I will never claim to be a politician. I don't have any political aspirations beyond this forum here. My interests specifically lie in this community, building this community back to what it used to be, right? And that's pretty much all I got. I mean, I don't have the full 5 minutes, I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm not a politician. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next we have Karen Orchard.
Good evening, everybody. I do like to talk, so you might have to cut me off for 5 minutes. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Echo Bay. I've lived in Thessalon for 10 plus years. My husband was born and raised in Thessalon. We both work locally. He works for Telic Engineering. I work for Brookfield in Warncliffe. We're raising a 10-year-old son in this community, and we really like raising a child in this community. We have a great hockey program here. We have excellent recreation programs. There's a lot of positive things for our youth, and I would love the opportunity to help and build on that. I grew up on a farm, so I am not afraid to get dirty, help out, do the things that have to be done. As far as my experience in any sort of situation like this, my direct experience, I worked for a local municipality as a treasurer, but also as a acting clerk, and in several different roles. When you work in a small municipality, you wear a lot of hats. So I think I bring a unique perspective. I bring knowledge and not really needing much of a learning curve. I know how municipal government works. My father was on council in Echo Bay for 30 plus years. So I'm used to the meetings. I ran meetings, I did minutes, I worked on the other side of the table that council works on. I'm well aware of how a small municipality such as this has very little control over their big items in their budget. So I'm not looking to come in here and reinvent the wheel. I'm looking to come in and be a complement to the rest of you. I can see on the wall here, there's a huge list of highlights from last year, and I would love to help, grow more of this. I think that's amazing. So as far as indirect experience that I have, I worked in the construction field. I worked for a small family construction company. I worked for Carillion when they built the highway through Echo Bay. So I do have some infrastructure knowledge and, knowledge on, budgetary things for infrastructure. And as far as why I would like to join and why I think I'd be a good fit, one other thing that I want to mention is that I do find a lot in small municipalities, there is a lack of diversity on councils. I would love to be another woman on council. I would love to be a role model to young girls in this community that they can also be a part of local governance, and they don't need to think that it's a male role only. So like I said, I'm not looking to come in and reinvent the wheel and lower taxes or do any of those things. I think the way that council has gone in the last several years, they've been doing you've all been doing amazing things, and I would like to be a part of that. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, folks. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you today. I will say that I'm not much of a public speaker. I think if any of you know my wife, and I think you all do, she's a speaker in the family. But I'll do my best. I prepared a little something to guide me, so hopefully we get through it okay. Bear with me. So we just arrived in the community a little over 2 years ago. We lived down southern Georgian Bay. We wanted to move to somewhere. I've spent most of my life living on or around the water. So we wanted to come somewhere where we could still live on the water. Believe it or not, Thessalon was the closest to us that we could actually still afford. So when we came up here and we looked at the house, first time coming into the community, immediately felt a familiarity and just a sense of comfort here. So when we moved in, it's been very comfortable since then. One of the first contacts that we had when we got here were Bill and Janine Rosenberg. They were nice enough to come to our house, brought us a nice gift basket and welcomed us to the community, which was very nice. And we very shortly after became friends. My wife was fortunate enough, as you know, while we were still in the process of moving here, the job vacancy came up here at the town for an administrative assistant, and Maria applied and was fortunate enough to get that. So in that, we've now become acquainted with all of you, with the town, with the council, how things work. And for my own part, I was a few months later moving up. I'm self-employed, I'm a contractor. I was fortunate enough to connect with a local guy here named Steve Netherton, who I think we all know. Steve and I have been working together for the last 2 years. It's been a great experience. It's allowed me to meet many other people, contractors, suppliers, and everything in the community, and forge some good new relationships, all of which has been very positive. That, along with the rest of the other people that we've met since we've been here in the town, has really cemented for us that this is where we're going to be for the rest of our time. And also, it inspired me to get active in the community, which is something, when I lived in the islands and stuff like that, we never had this kind of, there were no councils, there were nothing that we could access anyway. So I kind of wanted to get involved somehow. So I started volunteering. First thing, got involved with the town of special events committee, helped with things like the Easter egg hunt for the kids at Peace Park. Did some traffic control for the Community Day Parade, volunteered for that. Donated a trailer for Community Day that they ran their cotton candy thing out of. Also got involved with the Trails Committee prior to its opening and did some work on the trails, boardwalks and whatnot. And this past year, Maria and I both joined the curling club here. Got involved in that, and I volunteered with the ice crew doing ice prep and maintenance on the ice and whatnot. All of these experiences have been very positive for me. They've all just reinforced that sense of belonging here. Just made us feel that much more comfortable, and it motivated me to maybe want to get involved at a little higher level. So I also applied to the fire department to be a volunteer. That application is still pending. Haven't heard anything yet. But then this position came up, this vacancy on council, and I decided to apply for that to get involved. So some of my past experience, I think that may add to something that I can contribute here are as follows. I have had extensive experience in municipal water treatment and distribution. I worked for the town of Midland for 8 years as a water operator. During that time, I held multiple environmental licenses, water treatment level 1, water distribution and supply level 2, wastewater treatment level 1. I also held a lactose device tester certificate. I was responsible for the day-to-day operations of the town's water system during that time, which included daily maintenance and operation of treatment plants, taking of water samples from the well sites, treatment areas throughout the distribution system, and the ongoing maintenance and repair of the distribution system. This included many different aspects, anything from the repair and installation of individual water services to homes and businesses, to water main repair, supervising installation and testing of new infrastructure by contractors, expansion and installation of new pumping and treatment systems, and maintenance of storage tanks, reservoirs, and many other duties associated with that municipality water system. I still currently hold a certificate of Q for plumbing and a gas fitters 2 license. I've also had experience working with council. I worked for the city of Barrie for a period of time. I was hired there to create a backflow prevention bylaw for the city. I was also tasked with writing and instituting the backflow prevention program for the city. So that involved, of course, creation of policy. It also had involved extensive, we had to do an extensive public rollout to the public, which required education and information sessions with local contractors, business owners, and the public at This also led to me being involved on some committees such as the Ontario Water Association and also the Ontario Plumbing Inspectors Association, which involved shaping an implementation of provincial water related regulations and plumbing code changes. I've had a lot of experience with marine and marine operations as well. I spent a good part of my life living and working on Georgian Bay. My parents owned and operated a fishing lodge there for more than 45 years, which is where I was born and raised. Prior to moving to Thessalon, I spent 14 years as a manager caretaker for a place called the Tadnac Fishing Club. They're a private members club on southern Georgian Bay. They own approximately 20 square miles of land and water on Georgian Bay. There I was responsible for the general maintenance of the entire club, which include all its buildings, mechanical systems, docks, remote facilities, and all related equipment such as a fleet of 14 boats, various pieces of lawn equipment, a scoot or airboat, chainsaws, and other associated equipment. I was also responsible for the club's day-to-day operations, which included in the springtime, training of staff, through the summer supervising that staff, providing transportation and logistics for all people and supplies coming to and from the island, and also liaising with the club's executive to ensure smooth operation. I was also responsible for patrolling that 20 square miles of property and enforcing their no trespassing, because it's private property in its entirety, including the water. That involves sometimes contact with the public that can be a little unpleasant because people don't like to be told that they can't be somewhere, particularly when they're on the water. So that gave me some experience in those kinds of confrontations and, sometimes de-escalating, sometimes trying to find diplomatic solutions. So a little bit of a public liaison there. I think I also have the ability to be a critical thinker. I can see situations from both sides, and I'm able to draw non-biased conclusions. And lastly, I think being self-employed gives me the flexibility to be here when I need to be here, to fill the seat, let's say. So to wrap things up, this is the place, like I said, we've decided to make our home for the rest of our time. And I think I can make a positive contribution to this council and get involved in helping to maybe shape the town's future a little bit and ensure that it's a viable community going forward. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, Ron. Okay, committee and staff reports. One, Teresa.
Be resolved, the council acknowledge receipt of the committee and staff reports.
Moved by Tracy, seconded by Marcel. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Yeah. So before we go into close, we're gonna have a quick discussion in closed. Lindsay's gonna escort everybody out for a few minutes. We'll have a discussion. We'll welcome us all back in a brief moment. Okay, so we'll resume the open meeting. Number 3, Marcel.
Council resume open session.
Moved by Marcel, seconded by Randy. All in favor? Okay, so before we take our open vote, just want to thank everybody for coming out. We had a really great collection of candidates, make it a tough decision. Hope it doesn't discourage anybody from staying on any committees they're on and continuing in their volunteering capacity. I definitely want to encourage everybody to run in the next election. That being said, maybe we'll call the open vote.
Thanks, we'll do an open recorded vote. I'll call upon you to say the candidate that you're choosing for the new councillor position. So we'll start with Councillor Marcel Barrett.
Aaron Orchard.
And Councillor Kevin King,
Karen Archer.
and Councillor Randy Rankin.
Karen Archer.
Oh, unfortunately, Councillor Lindsay Talon is not on and doesn't have a vote. And Deputy Mayor Tracy Cook.
I just wanted to add that it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there and as a candidate, so I really appreciate you all coming and looking forward to working with you in other capacities, and I will just add my vote is for Karen.
And Mayor Jordan.
Karen Archer as well.
That's her, Tracy.
And Councillor appointment number 4, Tracy.
Be it resolved that in accordance with section 263(1)(a) of the Municipal Act 2001-25, council hereby appoints Karen Orchard as a councillor to serve the remainder of the 2022 to 2026 term of council for the town of Thessalon, effective upon taking the oath of office. Congratulations. Need a second?
Okay, moved by Tracy, seconded by Marcel. All in favor? Again, just want to thank all the candidates and congratulate the newest councillor for the town of Thessalon and confirmatory bylaw number 2667. Randy.
Be resolved that bylaw number 2667 being the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the meeting of council held on April 8th, 2025, be passed in open council this 8th day of April, 2025.
Moved by Randy, second by Marcel. All in favor? Number 6, Randy.
This meeting will be adjourned at 6:59 p.m.
Moved by Randy, second by Marcel. All in favor?